I had to ask for strength and energy every day, realizing that it's okay to not go above and beyond anymore. God can't really speak to you if you're not listening, you know what I mean? Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this week's video. I think there's a bug in my coffee. False alarm. It was just a coffee ground. We're good. Okay, welcome back y'all. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, my name is Emma. I make lifestyle and motherhood and faith content, and I would love for you to subscribe and stick around for all of future videos. I'm excited for this week's video. I'm gonna do a life advice reverse Q&A. I just wanted it to feel like we were sitting down at a coffee shop together talking about life, and I just wanted to give you my honest advice. So I asked you guys over on my Instagram, which is Emma Grace Jens. I'll link it down below. If you guys had any life advice, to send it over, and I just screenshotted everything that I got, and I'm just gonna pick a handful, I think. Let's just jump right in. The very first one I screenshotted says, my husband and I are really thinking about the timing of a baby and just wanted to know how you and Michael navigated the process to start trying. This is something that is going to vary from person to person. Here's the thing that everybody knows but nobody likes to hear. Realistically, you are not in any control. Like, you do control parts of it, but you will get pregnant when it is your time to get pregnant. And that is something that I learned the hard way, because when you try to overanalyze, overplan, overprepare, it just stresses you out, which actually makes it harder for you to get pregnant if you're really anxious and stressed. Just a mindset shift that I feel like I will have next time we're ready to try for another baby is just surrendering it to the Lord and saying, let me know when I'm ready. Prepare our hearts to be ready, prepare our minds to be ready, shape us and equip us into the mom and the dad that you have created us to be. And when the time is right, I pray that you would help us to get pregnant and that you would make that happen for us and all that kind of stuff. That's just a much healthier way to go about it. And I can't say that I went about that the first time. Like, I might think that I did, but looking back, I had such just a tight grip over it. And it was honestly just wasted energy because it happened in the exact right timing. And that gives me a lot of peace with however many babies we have, whenever we have more babies. I have full faith and trust. And so that's kind of what I would challenge you to do even before you start trying, is like surrendering it, praying over it, and asking the Lord to start to shape you and mold you into who He wants you to be as a mother, as a wife, and just as a person before you enter that very new stage of life. Okay, so somebody asked how to balance motherhood while working. If I can give you just one piece of advice, it's to understand that your roles shift when you become a parent. Your role at home shifts and your role at your job shifts, whether you're a teacher or not. And the energy and the effort that you are able to put into things is just less, just because that human that you now have takes up so much of that energy. And that's not a bad thing. It's just an adjustment, and realizing that it's okay to not go above and beyond anymore. It's okay to not stay 2 hours late every day. It's okay to not answer emails at home, you know, just like making that shift is okay. And that was a really hard thing for me to not feel guilty about at my job. Was having to give less effort. It didn't mean I was a bad teacher, but I felt like it because I had set this really high expectation for myself, and I just had to really lower it. They still love coming to school. They still leave feeling loved every day, but I'm not here anymore because Jordan, like this, the difference goes to my daughter, if that makes sense. Let me know if you'd want a whole coffee chat about that, because it's on my list. I just don't know if I'm feeling brave enough to film it. I'm heading to college soon, and I'm worried about keeping in touch with my friends. Any advice to make new friends as well as keeping the old ones? And I also had somebody ask me just about making new friends in general, making new friends at a church. I am just not a very social person. I would be perfectly content staying in my home like a hermit all day and not speaking to anybody. But I've just seen a lot of value over the last year in community and taking that quality time to spend with people. There are a lot of friendships that are just for a season, and that doesn't mean they weren't meaningful and valuable, but there are people that I was friends with in high school that I don't really speak to anymore, but that doesn't mean that they weren't special in high school. They were so precious and special and such a great friend for that season. we just kind of outgrew each other, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that I'm like cutting them out of my life forever. We might like send each other a message on Instagram every once in a while, but that season of our life is over and our friendship is just not ever gonna be that again. At the same time though, as you get older, friendships definitely take a lot more effort. And in terms of making new friends, this is so scary, and I understand completely. I have been doing a lot of prayer over it lately and just surrendering that to the Lord and asking Him to put people in my life, just asking Him to open those doors for me, and He has. I prayed for a while for a small group, for a community, for a church, other like mom friends. It just kind of fell in my lap. I can't say I had this like 5-step plan where I magically made friends at church or magically found other moms to hang out with. Some of the friends I made through other friends, but that takes you getting out of your comfort zone and asking to go to things and inviting yourself sometimes, or saying yes to things even if it's out of your comfort zone or whatever it is. Making friends, I also have realized it does take a sacrifice. It does take you getting out of your comfort zone, being uncomfortable, inviting people over to your home for dinner, asking if you can take them out to lunch after church. Things that like are not my jam. I am not a spontaneous person, and I'm learning to try to be. So just finding little moments like that and putting yourself out there and being uncomfortable, because worst case scenario, you go to lunch with somebody and you don't really click and then you don't have to do it again. Best case scenario, you just made a friend. You know, how do you stay so positive about life? Plus I am super insecure about myself. Any tips? So I actually talked about insecurity and vanity in my last vlog. I'll link it. It's just something I have been working through a lot lately. It's something I've worked through since I was a child because I'm a woman, and it's just a part, I feel like, unfortunately, of being a girl in society, is just constantly seeing other people who are more beautiful and nitpicking what you look like. But having a daughter really was a slap in the face of all the things that I don't want her to say about herself, believe about herself. And so it starts with me fixing the way I speak to myself. One of the ways I've been doing that, I kind of talked about this in that video, is trying to do less things to make myself feel prettier, like doing my hair less, trying not to do my makeup as much, stop worrying about what I'm wearing and what other people are wearing and my size and my body and all of these things, and just find things that I love about myself, whether it's physical or, you know, like an actual attribute or trait of mine. That is a journey, because I feel like I'm breaking down years and years and years of bondage and insecurity here, and you might feel the same, but every step you take towards loving yourself better is still a step. If I look back at it even a year ago, I am so much kinder to myself than I was a year ago. I hope that in 1 year I will love myself even more, and I'm really trying. So yeah, I just challenge you to find the things that you can break down, take away, and learn how to love who you are without all the extra filler stuff. And in terms of staying positive about life, you can never always be positive. That's just a given. But I have to kind of catch myself a lot, and I've shared this several times, but I have to tell myself so many times, like, it is not that deep, because it's just not. That puts me in check and gets me back in gear and makes me realize how much I let little things rob my joy. Life is just a lot better when you're not so worried about what people think of you, what you look like. Honestly, when you don't worry about every little thing, life is so much better. Even if things happen, you know it's okay, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And a lot of that is just relying on the Lord and knowing that He's gonna work it all out. Even if something horrible happens, I know He still holds me. I know He still hears me. That always makes me feel better and keeps me positive, because I know that it's just a little blip in my journey. When you look and think about the whole timeline of things, all the little things that go wrong are so tiny. I'm not trying to invalidate like trauma or loss or big things that happen in our lives, because I'm not saying it's not that deep to those things. Let me be clear. You have to go through those things. You have to heal through those things. I'm talking more about like the little worries, the insecurities, the anxieties that eat at our joy all day long. Shake it off. Life is much better that way, but it's definitely still a journey to get there. How do I rely on God when the days are hard and draining? Here's the really cool thing about God. If you ask, He He will. He hears you, he listens, and he cares. If you are struggling with feeling exhausted, burnt out, ask for strength. Ask him to provide rest. He will do it. And how he provides that might look different for everybody. But in those seasons, the one that comes to mind is when I went back to work last March. Jordan was 3 months old. So that like March through May were so challenging. I truly don't know how I survived it other than the Lord. I had to ask for strength and energy every day because I would wake up after being up half the night and then I have to go teach all day and then I'd come home and it'd just start all over. And it was absolutely exhausting. Yet I did it. I would get to the end of my day a lot of days and go, wow, I should not have made it through this day. Like I should not have had as much energy as I did. I should not have been as joyful as I was. So just ask. I feel like we overcomplicate it a lot of the times, but tell him that you're struggling. He can handle it. He wants to handle it. He wants to help and provide for you. Just ask. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions about reading the Bible, doing a devotional, having my quiet time, what that looks like, and how to do that when you don't know what you're doing. So let me break it down really basic, okay? We put Jordan down at 7:30 p.m. Most nights work out. And then I take a shower, sit on my bed, and I do my Bible times. It's just kind of like built into my routine because I always take a shower at night. And so I know I'm always gonna then go into my room, get on my PJs, and I can just sit on my bed and I have all of this stuff sitting right next to my bed. I have my Bible, my journal, and then my devotional sitting next to my bed at all times. And it's just a part of my routine now. It's just a habit. I went and grabbed my 3 devotionals that I've read. This is the first one. I don't think I've ever talked about this one. It's called Experiencing God Day by Day. I will link all of these below. I wish there was a date on it. I got this from my mentor in high school. I really liked this, especially back in high school. This is very simple and helps you to apply it. And what I like is you can always use this to read further. So like this used Acts 2 verse 1. You could always open your Bible to Acts 2 and just read the whole chapter if you wanted to read your Bible more. My second recommendation is New Morning Mercies. I love this one. This one is probably my #1 recommendation for you. I talk about it constantly. And again, it's a very similar layout. There's a date, a verse, and an application, and I just love this because this goes in a little bit deeper because it's a little more obviously than this one does. And then this one, my utmost for his highest. This is very old school. This is from 1935. This was published. They're all very similar. There's a topic, a verse, and then an application. But the reason that I would say this one is the third choice is I love this one and you might love it. And sometimes this is really powerful and this is what I need to hear. But this one, because it was written in 1935, it's a lot to understand the wording sometimes. It's powerful, but it's hard for me sometimes to get it and really understand what he's saying. Whereas this one, like I always understand what they mean. I can always apply it to my situation. So I'll do a devotional. I will journal, and I find it really helpful to journal and write down my prayers when I pray because 1, it keeps me focused, and 2, it's really cool to look back at your prayers and see the prayers that the Lord has already answered. I will either pick a book of the Bible and every night I'll read a chapter of it, or what I've been doing since the beginning of January is the Bible in 1 year plan. I'm doing it actually with all of Michael's family, and so every day there are like 5 or 6 chapters of the Bible to read. There are also, if you didn't know, if you have the Bible app, you can go to plans and find plans, and they have all these different topics. And then I always try to take, even if it's just a couple minutes, even if it's just setting a 5-minute timer on my phone to pray and just listen and be still. Because I found that God can't really speak to you if you're not listening, you know what I mean? So some nights it's just reading the Bible plan. Some nights it's doing all of that. There's it broken down. I hope that made sense because I feel like I was kind of all over the place, but those are all the ones I'm going to answer. I know I didn't answer an abundance of questions, but I just wanted to go more in depth, like I said, as if we were sitting down together having coffee. I hope that you enjoyed. If you ever have any other life advice questions or topics that you want me to sit and chat about, I would love to hear them, whether I ask for them or not, in the comments or in my DMs, and I'll just save them in a little album on my phone for later. Thank you so much for being here and for watching this video. I am so grateful for you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.